Hello, everybody. Welcome to our comical reality. Welcome to day one or day zero of the Big Brother world, and I'm gonna try my best about short little videos every day. It's sort of about some thoughts on the show's season. We'll see what I do with this period of time where there's gonna be no feeds. But today I was debating like, do I talk about the cast? Do I talk about? And I was like, I'm a philosophical person. I'll talk about what's philosophically interesting to me at the moment. And I'm at the Big Brother premiere parties. I'm at today was the reality lip sync slash karaoke night, and it was so for me being in this environment, like sort of the prelude to Big Brother tomorrow. It was like I've thinking a lot about parasocial relationships and my relationship with some of the house guests because it is past house guests because it is wild that this happens. That like I got to today I met Azza, Hannah, Tiffany, Kyland, and a bunch of other people. Right? I'm just referencing them because they're like I love the cookout, but they were also sort of the people who I had the most consistent relationship with. Like a bunch of people I was meeting for the first time, but it was like I've met a couple times, and like I'm at the point where like me and Azza are like friends, and I say it somewhat loosely because like we're friends in the sense of like while we're here, like she'll always say hi to me. I'll always say hi to her. I'll always be supportive of her. If I ask her for something at a party, she'll be supportive of me to the extent that it makes sense. And like that is a really cool thing to be able to have. But it's weird because like there's a parasocial relationship, right? So parasocial, if you're not familiar, is this term for like when it's a one-sided relationship. It's not just one-sided relationship in terms of like abuse or something like that. It's not like that. It's a thing where there's one group of people where it's like you that know you that like are the relationship's one-sided. So it's like I knew a lot about Big D. I know a lot about Kylan. I know a lot about Azza. I know a lot about Tiffany. And I could talk at detail, at hyper-specific detail about these people because I've watched them on live feeds for so long. I've watched them for hours and hours and hours. So I can talk about them and my thoughts on them for a solid hour plus, just straight, no stopping. Here are my thoughts on Azza and her game and reactions to it and thoughts about where she goes well and where she doesn't. And I could do all that, right? Big D is another one, right? I love Big D in person. Game wise, I enjoyed him as an entertainment product, right? But there's this pair that the idea, right, is that I know them really well, but they don't know me that well. And like I met T-Core, or I actually did. I saw T-Core. I didn't meet her today. I met Lisa today, right? Okay, let's do a better example. I met Chelsea because Lisa's was not that long. I met Chelsea today, right? I have a lot of thoughts about Chelsea. I mean, obviously she's a great winner. But she's never seen me in her life. She doesn't know my name. She's never looked at my name. I guarantee you. And so it's something that's strange is that there's this relationship where I know her, she doesn't know me. And a lot of these fan meets, it's like I'm meeting you for the first time in person, but I know you. And she's meeting me for the first time, but she doesn't know me. And this could play. And some people are really good at managing parasocial relationships. Azza is a queen at this. I think she's so good at managing and meeting people and taking things from parasocial to real. Jaw-droppingly good. Like everyone who has ever met Azza feels like they know her. And she, if you ever go back to an event, will try to remember you. And she remembers a lot of people. On just the second time we meet them. I remember I had been to the BB Celeb 3 premiere, and that was just because it was in DC where I was at the time. And a year and a half, 2 years later, I meet Ozzy, and I'm like, oh, Ozzy, I met you for the first time at this thing. She's like, oh, I remember you. And it's just, she was like, not like oh, I remember you, but oh, yeah, I remember you were there, because I remember what you were wearing, especially once you explained it. It's good to see you again. And then the third time I met, she knew my name, which wild, right? But that's a level of, but she's excellent. Someone who struggles with it, Sari. Part of it's because she's so big, and the environment she's in are very, typically where she meets fans are especially meet and greedy. But it's just not her forte. Like I remember when Corey met Sari for the first time on the Big Brother house, you could tell Sari just didn't know quite how to handle that kind of conversation, because she's had it a million times, but she struggles with it. And this is my, like, Cerise the Queen. Loved watching her on the feeds and stuff. But it's a skill. It's a unique skill. It's not a skill that you interact with a lot in the real life. Or especially, like, it's not a skill for the Big Brother players or Survivor player. Like, it is a skill specific to post these shows of how do you manage these relationships where they know you really well, but you don't know them. And it's weird, especially because a lot of times it's community based, it's positionally based. I was talking with Hannah today, and one thing we talked about was, she's in med school right now, and she doesn't, and none of her classmates really know who she is from that perspective, right? Like, she is a member of the Cookout, one of the most famous social strategy alliance of all time. And everyone's like, oh, I don't really know who she is. Right? And it's not, doesn't cross the belt. She's like a TV star. Which is but she's in med school. Like, that is something that wouldn't cross her in med school. And Hannah may or may not be on TV in a couple months or so. And it was interesting. It's like, she's like, I don't think anyone will know I'm on the show, even as every week I'm on TV, right? For as long as she's in. I have no idea how far she goes. And it's just that relationship's really funny. And especially at this point, I've met Ozzy a number of times. She knows my name. Like, it's not a parasocial relationship, but it still is. There is a information disbalance between these two things. Like, if I ever play Big Brother, at that point, the relational balance will be more even, right? But if I ever played. But for now, it's like, I'm just a fan. But, like, I've met you a number of times. And so there's more of an even playing field. But really, it's not. Right? Like, Ozzy had probably guessed about what I think of her game, but she doesn't know what I think of her game. Not really, right? And she doesn't know much about my life. She knows I'm a student. She knows a couple more details than that, but there's still that information. And it's a weird dynamic to navigate. Because when, and especially it gets weirder once you add, new people from the new cast, because I'm, connected to Ozzy. Like, there's at least somewhat of a real relationship there, right? I don't mean, in terms of, it might be superficial. It's more just in terms of, I have friends who know me more than Ozzy knows me, right? And that makes total sense for that to be true. But, it's I can meet Tucker, or I can say hi to Brittany, who I've met before, and who recognized me. And that's a weird, and, it's Brittany, I have a real relation, I have a real connection with her. I shared an experience where we were both involved in. I don't have that with Tucker. And Tucker's really cool. I was excited to see Tucker. But it's different. There's not the same level of connection. And so it's an interesting, watching me this year tend to trend more towards hanging out with 23 people, saying hi to them or to the extent it was possible. And then, of course, it's also funny because at these events, you also have fans who are you're meeting for the first time, who are just other fans. And in that sense, in terms of the parasocial level, they're even, right? And so I spend a lot of time interacting with people who have never seen before and who've never seen me before, where we have a shared level of understanding of each other. And it leads to an interesting dynamic. I guess an extent, I'm good friends in terms of the BB invent stuff with BB Gossip, right? And in that sense, there's still a bit of a parasocial connection because I know more about BB Gossip than BB Gossip knows of me. But it's not it's not a big difference, right? And so it's more even. It's easier to talk to them. But it's a weird thing. And it's really interesting to think about. And that's sort of my philosophical thoughts. I will add one more thing. It is wild as I get a sense of, because I'm not that parasocial people. There are people I have a lot of thoughts about them, but there are people who have obsessive levels of understanding. Whereas a level parasocial, which goes from I know more about you than you know about me, to to a major disbalance. But it goes to another level of, but I need to know everything about you still, even though you're not giving access, and I deserve it, or I'm so connected that it hurts me to not have that intel. And I saw this a bit with Maricori last year because they were at the premiere party, and I remember tweeting out oh, look at their impact, look at how popular and successful they are. And to be fair, They would sit in a place in the room, and the entire room would like coalesce around trying to talk to them. And they're really committed to trying to make sure that your interaction with them was special, especially because they have a lot of really big fans. And so they would spend 4 or 5 minutes together with you. And the problem, of course, is that makes the lines for them take extra long and be extra challenging. To where you have to be like, okay, I'm committed to meeting AmeriCorey because I will not meet them otherwise, right? Which is so weird, which is wild, right? Their impact. But I remember tweeting about this, and a fan DM'd me, being like, "So do you think their relationship was actually real? Like, did they look good together? Did they look like they liked each other?" I'm like, "Yes, yes, yes, they did." I'm like, "Okay, good, because I really, really, really love them." Like, what? Like, why are you sending DMs to strangers for their assessment of their in-person relationship? Because you're worried they might be faking liking each other. What? Why? Like, and here's the thing. And this is not a AmeriCorey specific thing, okay? I just want to be clear. The same thing happened with, or I was hearing reports today of Rubina and Tucker fans, like the two Bina fans, being like, I need the intel on where the current state of their relationship is. Do they like each other? Have they talked to each other? Do they even acknowledge each other? Are they even in the same room as each other? Like, first of all, you don't need to know this stuff. Why are you going out of your way to get this intel? If you really want to know so badly, just take the plane. It's so weird. I don't understand the level of connection. It's like, I would love for Claire and DX to connect. But I don't need to message someone about, do Derek and Claire actually like each other? I don't need to go out of my way to ask, do America and Corey actually like each other? And look, partly I think some of it is also not helped with the fact that Tucker and Rubina are not together. So there's probably some genuine intrigue about where the state of the relationship is. But it's weird. Parasocials are weird. And you guys get way too connected. And like, obviously, Big Brother lets you into a window. Like, I know things about Corey from 25 that I have no right knowing. I'm sure Corey could actually probably guess what one of those things is, but like, I have no right having them having the information. It's very personal, very private, but they share in the feeds, and that's just how it is. I will for a long time knew this fact, but like, doesn't mean like I should. And like, there is inherent nature of parasocialness to Big Brother. It's just how it goes. But where the line needs to be drawn is where that parasocialness becomes obsessive. Where you alters substantially your interaction between you and them as a fan and supporter, and you and them as a obsessive, like, stalkerish vibe, and them as the person you're stalking, because that's what some of this level of parasocialness gets to. And like, Big Brother fans always have that a bit. God forbid I ever play Big Brother and people have deep thoughts about me that I don't have about them. And like, that's part of the gig. But it's such a weird thing to exist. And Big Brother's especially this way, like to a different level than like Survivor. Like Survivor, it's like, okay, I'm excited to meet you. Like, I've met people. Like, I met Andy not that long ago. I've met Teeny before. They were both really cool. But like, and I think Andy would recognize me. I know Bryce recognizes me. But like, I know a lot less about Bryce, to the point where Bryce and I actually probably know about what we have, probably decently similar information, because Bryce was only on like a couple episodes and was an edited show, whereas I know detailed habits of Corey's that are unnecessary for me to have. And that's just how Big Brother goes. And it's one of the coolest parts about it, and it's one of the scariest parts about it, that you open yourself up to a world to see who you are. And it's then like that level of exposure for good and for bad. And Survivor, it's like you go on a couple episodes, it's scripted. Especially if you go out in the first half, like people might recognize you, but it's not something where people are desperate to go say hi to you. Like there's Survivor players who've been on, like Gio from 43. It was like I've seen Gio, I've talked to Gio a couple times. He's really cool. But he's about what like a normal person is in terms of the fan level. Like people who recognize him, but no one has like deep thoughts about him. I know his story better than he knows my story, but like it's different with Big Brother because even like if you've been on for a week, I know too much about you. But anyway, that's the first episode, Parasocials. Tomorrow I'll talk about the premiere, some thoughts, my thoughts on some of the cast. Spoiler, I really like Keanu. I like his specificity. I think it's telling about how much he actually knows. He's like, I'm gonna play like Enzo, but win comps. Like that is a very specific pull, and it's a very specific correction of, and it's like he kind of clearly knows what he's talking about, and I really like that. I like that he's very nerdy, but also a physical trainer. But I'll talk about a lot of that tomorrow. Today was just about, hey, let's talk about the reality thing. And I could talk more about the actual mechanics, what was going on, but I'm not here to give you live feed updates. I'm here to give you some like philosophical thoughts. I'm here to talk about online structures, not in terms of like the live feed update version, but in terms of like the meta discussion of it. And like to the extent it's relevant, and like sort of my thoughts and strategy, like what I think players should be doing or not. I'm not gonna give you your updates. I'm your like, let's just get a little more heady with it sort of person. And sometimes I won't have anything to talk about. And I'll be a short update being like, hey, I have not followed what's going on. This is why I have not been following what's going on. Have a good time. But today, I'm gonna get my live up thoughts on the night. It was a blast. Brittany, by the way, Brittany D'Angelo is such a good performer. Like, I don't think people realize how good she is until she's lip syncing to a song that, like, she knows at the bottom of her heart, and you're just like strong drag queen levels of like performance. We're just like, how? But that's not really what I'm here for. I'm not here for the live feed updates. Those are some thoughts, but mostly I'm here to talk about philosophy, and you got my parasocial thoughts today. Now, obviously, because you're watching my video, you are by nature becoming a bit of a parasocial, which is awesome. God, this world is so weird. Have a good one. Follow along. There'll be more tomorrow. Bye.